Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last regular council meeting for this year for this council. Are there any late items, Corporate Officer?
There's none, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So I'll ask somebody to bring forward the adoption of the agenda, please. Councillor Van Elfen, thank you. Councillor Patton, all in favor? Okay. And adoption of minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meeting minutes. Are there any changes or revisions that need to be made, updates on those? All right, I'll ask someone to bring those forward. Councillor Van Elfen, seconded by Councillor Patton. All in favor? Thank you. And now, item 6, public opportunity for 15 minutes. Anyone in the gallery is invited to come and speak to any of the items that are listed on the monitors there. Please keep your comments to 2 minutes per speaker and start with your name and your address. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dawn Richards. I live at 14119 Prairie Valley Road. Mayor and Council, I would like to address the agenda item regarding the metered water fees, charges, etc., starting for January 2020. I think it's up there. For the record, as one of the property owners that have domestic second service, I would like some clarification. It is stated that each domestic second service account will be billed an annual charge in this document. As I understand it, this will change in the coming year. The plan requires properties such as ours, with less than 0.5 acres of arable land, to pay to have this service disconnected or have a pit meter installed at the owner's expense, from what I read at a past council meeting. So this all gets a bit confusing, as we have received a letter telling us that we will not be charged the annual rate next year because we're going to have to deal with these choices that are coming down the pipe later on. And the details are supposed to come out in a subsequent letter, and according to the utilities guys, they say sometime before the end of this year, but I don't know. So I stand before you trying to get some answers on this issue. The initial letter sent from utilities on October 27th referred to the first step of this process, that it would be engaging the public. And I would like to know when this engagement will happen, because since the end of August, I have sent 2 letters, made 3 phone calls to utilities, and made 2 visits down here to the Municipal Hall. And it wasn't until November 26th that I got any response. And Devin and Chris phoned me on November 26th, and they answered some of my questions, but they couldn't answer all of them. There were 3 counselors at the Water Advisory Committee meeting on April 9th. Not one person from counselor staff got back to me in any kind of timely fashion. So, frankly, I'm a little disappointed in that lack of response. And like I said, the letter says that there's going to be some engagement of the public, and I'd like to know what that's going to be. And since I'm on a roll here, I'd like to know what's changed since 2009. The property owners such as us, who have a second domestic service line, have been forgotten or shelved for 10 years. And through no fault of ours, we're now expected to make a choice, and the burden of the price is on us. And I frankly don't think that's fair.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt for a moment,
Yeah.
Dawn. This item is not one of the items that is open for public commentary at this meeting, but the CAO has just advised me that he will arrange to set up a meeting with you.
That would be nice. Yeah, and actually some sort of public, like, I'm one person, and I'm nosy, so I go come and ask questions, but a lot of people have no idea.
Okay, so we have your phone number, do we?
Yep.
Okay.
Should have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to comment on any of the items there on the monitor? Okay, thank you. So on to my mayor's report. On Tuesday, November the 26th, I attended the utility rates open house where staff presented proposed water, sewer, and electrical utility rate increases following council discussions earlier in November. For those who missed the open house, tonight's agenda includes the proposed 2020 rates and other topics related to utility rates. Budget work continued Thursday, November the 28th, this time at RDOS meeting, and there is another full-day budget meeting scheduled for this Friday, December the 13th. Councillor Holmes has written an RDOS update, which is available on the back table, and it'll also be available online as an attachment to the agenda. Friday, November 29th was, of course, our 32nd Annual Festival of Lights. I joined Santa and Mrs. Claus in the parade before heading to the stage for the 7 p.m. countdown to light up. Estimates are that 11,000 to 12,000 people attended the event this year, even though it was a little chilly. On behalf of council, I thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event each year and to the generous sponsors who make it possible. I would also like to thank all the district staff for their hard work and roles in making it all come together. An event this large impacts every department in some way or another, including electrical works, parks, municipal hall, bylaw, fire, and police. Saturday, November the 30th, the fire department hosted the 32nd annual Toys for Tots and Teens fundraiser at Second Home. And again, I would like to thank Allison and the staff at Second Home for the delicious breakfast, which was served by district fire crews. Thank you, Chief Noble. The event was very successful, raising $4,675 for tots and teens in our community. Tuesday, December 3rd, I attended the Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting in Kelowna. 3 items that came out of there that would be of interest here. The 14th year of the Water Conservation and Quality Improvement Grant Program is now open for applications. This year, OBWB is prioritizing collaborative projects that provide water benefits across many jurisdictions. The board voted to add $50,000 to the grant funding this year, bringing the total amount available for 2020 to $350,000. So perhaps there's something that the district can apply for there as well with neighboring jurisdictions. OBWB directors enjoyed the presentation by the Central Okanagan Land Trust. We have a similar group in the South Okanagan called the Southern Interior Land Trust. This presentation was primarily about the setback dike project of the Mission Creek Restoration Initiative that is taking place in Kelowna. This particular part of the project focused on relocating 475-meter section of the dike to restore hydrological functions and creating more connectivity to provide improved spawning, rearing, and holding habitat for native fish species, particularly mountain whitefish, rainbow trout, and kokanee. The Mission Creek Restoration Initiative includes many partners, including the City of Kelowna, and covers a total of 12 kilometers of the channel. The OBWB now has 2 directors representing the Okanagan Nation Alliance, and it's great to have their voice at the table again. This was a busy week. The following day, December the 4th, CAO Haddad and I were invited to attend a workshop in West Kelowna hosted by the Okanagan Nation Alliance, the Okanagan Collaborative Conservation Program, and the South Okanagan Similkameen Conservation Program. This was the initial information session and workshop for the Okanagan Lake Responsibility Planning Initiative. The goal of the initiative is to identify ways to improve and coordinate policy and planning processes to protect and restore the environmental, cultural, and economic values of our lake. The workshop was attended by planners, provincial staff, and Silk people, and we heard from speakers on items ranging from a call for increased protection in riparian areas, to reintroducing salmon into Okanagan Lake, to including natural assets in local government asset management plans. Did I see your ears pick up there, Chris? Later on that same day, the district held a Community Climate Action Plan open house to review the draft Community Community Energy and Emissions Reduction Plan that was created following input from residents and local stakeholders. Approximately 50 members of the community attended and provided feedback on the plan. Staff will return to council on January 13th to review the plan in detail and seek direction before requesting council to adopt the plan. Councillor Holmes and I attended a full day of RDOS committee meetings and a board meeting on December the 5th. On Friday, December the 6th, CAO Haddad, Fire Chief Glenn Noble, and I traveled to Kamloops to attend an Emergency Management BC workshop organized and hosted by the Southern Ontario Local Government Association Executive. EMBC staff was looking for input and feedback on the proposed changes to the emergency management legislation, and I can confidently say they got lots of that when we were in the room there. This workshop was attended by elected officials, fire and emergency management staff, EMBC, and Flynn Rose staff, Forest Lands and Natural Resource. Yesterday, I played the role of a Who in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The event was the first of what we hoped will be an annual event, and all proceeds went to the Summerland Food Bank and Resource Center. And with that, I will end my mayor's report, put on my Who hat, and I invite Councillor Van Elfen. You told me you would put yours on if I wore my hat, so.
Fair.
Fair is fair. Lovely. Thank you, sir. All right. CAO's report.
Okay, thank you. I'm feeling underdressed now. Competition. Just a couple of quick thank yous, as Mayor Boot mentioned, with regards to the light up. A massive effort from the team. A lot of them around the table here tonight in helping set up the event. First to Jeremy and Lara for setting up the district's first warm-up tent. Fantastic job there, judging by the shortage of apple cider. It was well worth the efforts, so bigger and better next year. But thank you to those guys for setting that up, and to Chris and Martin and their teams for all the work they've done with the chamber out in the community getting ready for this event. A lot of work goes into it. And Glenn and the fire department for hosting the command center and keeping things under control as well for the event. So thank you guys very much. Quick update on the from our Parks and Recreation Department. Powell Beach restoration project has now been completed, which is great to see. Works included restoration of the existing asphalt trails damaged by the 2017 floods, along with a complete park revitalization, which regraded and resurfaced the parking lot and the trails in that area of the community. Cabin Forestry have completed final works for Phase 1 and 2 of Giant's Head Mountain Trails, the redevelopment project on Giant's Head Mountain. Most of the additional works issued for this fall have been completed, and the remaining works, including signage and viewing tubes, will be completed in the spring, followed by a ribbon cutting ceremony. So more on that in early 2020. And finally, Kevin Taylor, our planner with the district. This is his last council meeting in the community. He's off to a new role with the district of Lillooet. So congratulations, Kevin. I've been told that anyone can be replaced, but apparently in your case it's not going to be that simple. So we're looking forward to seeing your career grow at Lillooet. I know everyone in the teams had a fantastic time working with you at the district, and looking forward to hopefully seeing you back here one day in the future. But good luck with everything, and good luck with your last council meeting tonight.
Thank you, CAO. On behalf of council, Kevin, I also would like to extend my congratulations and thank you for all the hard work you've done with your Director of Development Services. So thank you. Okay, item 9.1 is business arising from the Committee of the Whole and closed sessions, and this will be for Karen.
Correct. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on November 19th and continuing to November 20th, Council had a Committee of the Whole meeting that brought up the following recommendations. The first one being that for 2020, the water rates be increased by 5% and sewer rates increased by 3.5%, and that for the 5-year period ending in 2024, annual water utility rates increases of 5% and sewer utility rate increases of 3.5% be included as asset management reserve contributions in support of Summerland Asset Management Policy 100.18. And further, that staff prepare amendments to the District of Summerland Water Utilities Bylaw, number 2014-019, and to the Fees and Charges Bylaw, number 98-001, effective for January 1st, 2020. At that same meeting, at the very end of the meeting following sewer and water, Council did also pass the following recommendation with regards to the electrical utility. And that would be for 2020, the electric utility residential class E01, tier 1 and 2 be combined to a rate of 0.1288 with basic charge remaining at $18.36. And that for 2020, the electric utility rates for all codes except residential be increased by 4.4%. And further, that staff prepare amendments to the District of Summerland Fees and Charges Bylaw, number 98-001, to be effective January 1st, 2020. And then, Your Worship, today during Council's meeting, Committee of the Whole meeting, we also passed a resolution that the District of Summerland supports the application for the development of an age-friendly action and implementation plan, and that staff be directed to apply for a grant of $30,000 through the Age-Friendly Assessment Action Plan and Planning Funding Program, and further that Council directs staff to provide overall grant management for this project.
Thank you. On to item 10, 10.1, proposed 2020 increases for water, sewer, and electrical rates, and this is for our Director of Finance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Over the past 4 months, staff have been busy assembling the proposed 2020 utility budgets, as well as the 5-year capital plans. As mentioned previously, these budgets were presented to Council at the November 19th and 20th Committee of the Whole budget meetings. The proposed water and sewer budgets do not require any operational increases for the water or sewer fund. They do, however, require a 0.9% increase in the electrical fund, which is primarily driven by a 1% rate increase that Fortis is passing on to us. A large portion of the budget discussions were focused around asset management this year. Over the past few years, Council has identified the importance and the need of increasing capital reserves that were extremely minimal in the past. Reserve levels have slowly increased, and we're estimating at the end of 2019 that they'll be at $6.8 million. In contrast, the district's estimated replacement cost of our utility infrastructure is $364.6 million. Based on the work that has been done by staff and consultants, it's estimated that $234,000 of those assets have been fully used up and or amortized. So this leaves the district with a utility infrastructure deficit of approximately $130.2 million. So although strides have been made over the years to increase utility reserves, significant investment is still needed in order to support the long-term needs of this community. And based on the significant amount of work that has been done through the asset management process, as well as Council's commitment to infrastructure investment, Council has proposed rate increases of 5% in water, 3.5% in sewer, and 4.4% in electric. Now, in addition to the proposed 2020 rates, as the corporate officer mentioned, Council has committed to annual increases to water rates of 5%, as well as sewer rates of 3.5% over the next 5 years. And that is in order to increase available funds for future capital replacement projects. And it should also be noted that the proposed electric rate amendments do include the removal of the residential tiered billing system. So we're now moving away from the two-tiered system, and starting on January 1st, 2020, the rate will be harmonized into one rate, which was mentioned earlier. And as was also noted, the basic charge for the electrical utility in 2020 will remain the same as it was in 2019 at $18.36 a month. So the proposed budgets and rate increases were presented at a public open house on November 26th. 4 members of the public attended the meeting, 2 noting their support of the rate increases. So should council implement the rate increases as recommended, a typical Summerland residence will see a $37.63 increase in water, $13.81 increase in sewer, and a $95.80 increase in electrical rates. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. So council, we are being asked to introduce this and read this, and read it a first and second and third time for the water utilities and water rates amendment bylaw. Is somebody willing to bring that forward? Councillor Holmes?
Move that water utilities and water rates amendment bylaw number 2019-041 be introduced and read a first and second time, and that the same bylaw be read a third time, and that fees and charges bylaw amendment, electric and sewer fees bylaw 2019-040 be introduced and read a first and second time.
And then can we just leave the last one for a moment? Okay. Do I have a seconder for those two? Thank you. All in favor of those first 4 parts of the motion? Thank you. And Councillor Holmes?
Didn't quite get through the fourth, but that's good enough.
A third time?
That's all right.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
No worries. And move that a special council meeting be scheduled for 4 p.m. on December 13th, 2019 to consider adoption of water utilities and water rates amendment bylaw 2019-041 and fees and charges bylaw amendment number 2019-040.
Okay. All, that date works for everyone, I understand. Not-
Maybe, if I need to be here, might be a bit iffy, but I'll try.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. We'll still have quorum with 5 of us here, and I'm not sure about Councillor Carlson. So thank you, Councillor Holmes. Seconder for that? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Oh, Councillor Barkwell.
I just want to make a special note that, because when I go to work tomorrow, people will be saying, what are you doing to us, raising our fees? That I want to make special note that there's no operational increase in these utility rate increases. It's all for the capital infrastructure, except for the electrical, of course, which you explained as being only 1% to pass on the rate from Fortis. Just, make a note of that.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. 10.2, Financial Plan 2019 to 2023, and the following 10.3, 4, and 5 will all be managed by Karen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So first at 10.2 is to consider adopting Financial Plan 2019 to 2023, Amendment Bylaw Number 2019-038, which was given first, second, and third reading at the November 25th meeting and is now in front of Council for consideration of final adoption.
Okay. Someone like to bring that adoption forward, please? Councillor Patton? Seconder? Councillor Barkwell? Any further comments on that? Okay, all in favor? None opposed, and on to 10.3.
Okay, 10.3 is the consideration to adopt the Council Procedure Amendment Bylaw Number 2019-039, which was also given first, second, and third reading at the November 25th, 2019 regular council meeting, and has been provided notice to the community through advertisements on November 28th and December 5th, and is now within Council's authority to adopt.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Councillor Patton, all in favor? None opposed?
Okay. So this is to adopt the following resolution, which actually will repeal the commercial vehicle licensing bylaw number 93074. And it is bylaw number 2019-032, and we're asking that council adopt this bylaw that also received for second, third reading at November 25th meeting.
Okay, this also is for adoption. Councillor Traynor and Councillor Patton. All in favor? All right, and the final one.
And the final one, Madam Mayor, is the zoning bylaw amendment for cannabis production M1A, bylaw number 2019-034. This one was considered at the first, second, and third reading at the November 25th regular council meeting, and it's within your authority to adopt.
Thank you. That's the night we had the public hearing as well, right?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Van Alphen? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Patton. All in favor? Thank you. Business items, number 11.1, Development Variance Permit DVP 19017 for 7726 Higgin Avenue. Kevin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. DVP 19-017 proposes to vary the minimum required rear setback on an RSD1 lot from 7.5 meters to 2.0 meters on a proposed new lot that is currently undergoing subdivision, and to reduce the frontage improvement requirements from the subdivision and development servicing bylaw standard drawing for a local road to the installation of a curb and approximately 1 meter of asphalt. Starting with the setback, the applicant is proposing to build a two-story single-family home and would like to construct within 2.0 meters of the property line. The red dashed line shows approximately where the 7.5 meter setback would be. I apologize, this image was not in your agenda package, but I did find it after the fact and thought it would be relevant. The DVP is not required in order to build on this lot. The rationale from the applicant is that if the lot were to remain a single parcel, the setback for the lot in question would be an interior side yard setback of 1.5 meters, shown approximately by the red dashed line. They have shown obscured glass at the rear of the house and an opaque privacy fence, which is permitted to be a maximum of 1.8 meters high. The maximum height in the RSD1 zone for a single-family dwelling is 9.5 meters or 31 feet. Staff recognize that the setback request is still less of a direct impact on the adjacent neighbor than it would be achievable now at 1.5 meter interior side, and for that reason staff are supporting the application with the caveat mentioned on page 2 of the staff report. Unless the proposal is met with objection from the immediate neighbor, staff recommend that the setback variance be approved. The second request is to reduce the frontage improvement requirements of the SDS bylaw from the standard local road drawing on the right to the installation of a curb and replacement of a meter of asphalt on the left. The requirements of the SDS bylaw are to construct an upgrade to the center line, which is approximately illustrated here. Generally, the argument is made that frontage improvements ends up with roads and sidewalks to nowhere. However, there is still significant subdivision potential along the inner portion of Crescent Beach, all of which would upgrade the road to match this improvement. Frontage improvements are a standard provision for maintaining and upgrading community infrastructure and are a cost of doing business for subdivision. We have noticed a marked increase in subdivision development servicing bylaw variance requests in the last year, and the request is usually to either eliminate all work or to a standard that does not provide for long-term viability of the improvement. As with any other costs of business, if the subdivision does not pay for the improvement, then the subdivision is generally considered not viable. If we continue to reduce frontage improvement requirements, we are passing maintenance and upgrade costs onto the entire tax base rather than those profiting from the subdivision. As a good rule, reduction in SDS standards should either meet or beat the minimum standard, or if the district standards are in fact too restrictive, the bylaw itself should be addressed. At the very minimum, a reduction to road widening could be entertained while retaining the reconstruction to center line along the frontage. Staff are recommending that the reduction of the SDS local road standard request be denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Because this is a development variance permit, there is the opportunity for people to comment on the variance that's before us, beginning with the proponent. I would invite you to come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Your Worship. My name is Beata Declue. I'm with Urban Options Planning Permits out of Kelowna. Tonight I'm representing the Summerland family. Don is here with us tonight, who, with your approval, are planning to build a retirement home in Crescent Beach. Don has been spending his summers here since he was a very young lad. Having fallen in love with the area, he has purchased the property at 7726 Higgin, applied to subdivide it, and is planning a home for his retirement on the vacant property. Tonight I've also got Lee Peltz here from McElhaney Engineering, who's our engineer on the project. And of course, I'd like to always thank staff for their presentation because it gives us a good outline. I do, however, have a number of details that I'd like to add that I think are relevant. And I understand I pressed this button here. So before the subdivision, the property in question, as Kevin indicated, was a side yard line. And I, in fact, used Kevin's drawings here as well, which only requires a 1.5 meter setback for a home up to 2 stories in height. Because of the subdivision line, as Kevin indicated as well, the line that is shown with the red arrow there now becomes, and obviously here on this side too, now becomes a rear lot line that requires a 7.5 meter setback. When we consider the rhythm of the neighborhood, we see that a placement of a home with full setbacks is inconsistent in how all other homes are placed in this community. It is understood that the neighbor is worried about losing the views to the hills. However, the land is flat, and unfortunately, any additional structures would limit their view. I also wanted to point out, just briefly, as the arrow flies there, that all the properties get to exercise the 1.5 meter setback along there. The proposed home has been designed with minimal openings on the rear elevation. Any openings that are prepared to, or that are required for that face will be opaque, and it's intended to preserve the neighbor's privacy. The usable outdoor yard space is planned for the west side of the property. The landowner plans to replace the fence along the property line and plant trees to beautify the land, which will beautify both their property and the neighboring property that you can see here in this particular slide. The neighbor currently uses the impacted site for storage. As you can see in these photos, there's a storage shed that's located pretty well on the property line, and they park a number of vehicles in the rear portion of their property. Prior to making this application, we talked to planning staff, and the owner, on the request of planning staff, spoke to the affected neighbors twice to ensure that they were aware of what we were planning and that they had no concerns with the setback requested. He came away at that time feeling that both had agreed. Given this and the current use of the adjacent area, a request for a reduced rear yard was made. So that's the first part of our requests. The second part, as you are aware, are to vary the paving requirements. As you're all very familiar, the area is a destination and can only be accessed by one point, making all traffic in the area local traffic. Crescent Beach is unique. The community developed from an area of cottages, transitioning now to some homes. The neighborhood developed organically with a narrower roadway than required in today's subdivision and development servicing bylaw. Their area has no traffic concerns, and the current configuration works well. As Kevin pointed out, the district standard is to have a roadway that's 4.5 meters wide with 2 parking areas on either side to make up the full width of 9.3 meters. The reason I'm going into these details is I want to point out what's in the situation right now. The current road is approximately 6.6 meters wide, which again would allow easily for your 4.5 meter drive aisle plus 2.1 meters on one side for parking. It is noted that in this neighborhood, there's not a lot of parking that occurs on the sides of the street. By not including additional paving, the existing road is still functional. When considering the limited traffic of the area, the existing cross-section, as it exists today, should be sufficient for current traffic and future traffic. There is a lot of discussion in planning theory about keeping new residential streets as narrow as possible, whenever possible. Oh, sorry, this is to show paving. Some go as far as citing that cars should be able to go in opposite directions and should pass each other at no more than 10 miles per hour, which is about 16 kilometers per hour, and we all know how slow that feels when we're driving. We all marvel at the tight, narrow, quaint streets in Europe and should celebrate older neighborhoods that are built this way, like Crescent Beach. There's some pictures there for you. And emulate the model going forward. There is a theory, it's the Woonerf, the Dutch philosophy, that is well known and taught in planning school over and over again, with the intent of keeping streets really narrow and multi-purpose. This encourages community interaction and allows neighbors to know each other. Our large streets that we normally have in North America tend to be dividers rather than community builders. At a meeting with Summerland staff, it was noted that the subdivision and development servicing bylaw does not consider nuances for specific neighborhoods. As noted, this area is unique to Summerland. It's unique in how you access it, it's unique in how it's developed, and it's unique in the way the community interacts with each other. Applying standard engineering road requirements would negatively impact the community and the neighborhood. With this presentation, we ask that you favorably consider our variance requests, and if you have any questions, both myself and Lee are available.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the gallery that would care to come forward to the podium?
Good evening. My name is Trent Sobel. I am the neighboring property owner and my wife. Excuse me, I'm about a tail end of a cold here. We are opposed to this because, from my understanding, was he was going to be building a dwelling unit on this proposed subdivided lot, but it was going to fall within the rules that are in place. Now he is asking for the rules to be changed. I believe these bylaws are put in place to save ourselves from ourselves. The reason that neighborhood is the way it is and why so many people enjoy it is because of the way it is. When we start sticking great big houses, on little lots, it's going to change the whole look of that area of our town. Yes, we're very unique out there, and we kind of like to keep it that way. I'm more than welcome to work with him. He is, I feel we should be allowing him to build a house, but it should fall within the current bylaws. We start making exceptions, we're going to change that neighborhood forever, and I don't believe it's for the better. I don't think anybody drives into the neighborhood and says, oh, let's split all these half-acre portions up into quarter or one-third acre. People drive in there and they say, what a nice, quaint neighborhood. And there's a silent majority of a few of the other houses that have been built recently in the neighborhood go, wow, how could we allow those houses being built like that in this neighborhood? It's spoiled.
Which I might add are still sitting there for sale after 3 years.
It's interesting because I spent a lot of time in my backyard doing one thing and another. My wife gardens, and we have the cherry tree that's right next to the fence and a peach tree that's there. The wildlife likes that piece of ground between the Sutherland's land and ours. There's a low fence there, there's trees. The cherries are pretty much given to the birds. The red-tailed hawks like that too because that brings all the birds in that neighborhood. If you are there in the summertime, in the evening, you'll be standing there and you'll be able to hear the hawk come down and take his afternoon meal away. By building more bigger houses on these, we're removing that habitat. We have a big quail. Well, we used to have a big quail population down there. They used to run between all the yards. Now, it seems like it's kind of going away. So, we're not only affecting the people of the neighborhood, we're affecting the habitat. And, I think that's pretty important because people come into it and they make statements of, I'm going to build my house and I plan on living here forever, and I'm sure that they are starting out with those intentions. I've been living here for 22 years in my family. We've raised our family. quite enjoy Summerland. But sometimes people's tastes or life happens and circumstances change, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe the Sutherlands won't want to be there anymore, but yet the people of the neighborhood will be stuck with a really oversized house on a really small lot. Thank you for my consideration.
I might add to that, when you apply variances, setback variances, you look at the hardships. There's no hardship on this land, it's a flat lot. There's no slope, there's no anything that needs to be accommodated. So on that basis alone, it can be denied. And also, Mary Ann Smurl, I don't know if you have her letter, but she wrote an excellent letter as well. Part of the problem is we're looking at not a renovated house, but a new house. So added densification, start of who knows what. We had the assurance from Kevin Taylor that none of the other lots in the middle would be up for subdivision, but by the comments tonight, I don't believe that that's actually the case. And we all live there for a particular reason, and we're seeing that being eroded away. And I would just ask for your consideration to deny the variance for the setback. It's going to make my gardening harder, make our yard hotter. Yeah, just quite unpleasant. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else that would care to speak to this development variance permit?
Yes, Your Worship and Council. My name's Ron Gorman. I'm at 19249 Lake Shore Drive North, right just directly across from the Sutherlands on the other side of the street. And I'm speaking as I would like to see both of the variances approved. The reason I give for that is that the area down there, which we all described is unique. I describe it as a good life. And what we have with the road, whether it's Higgins or Lakeshore Drive North, that circle around Crescent Beach there, is really being treated, on at least the side that we're on, as a path, a walkway. I mean, my 8 grandkids are out there. Everybody comes out in bunches, or they bunch up. That's because there's very little traffic. The speed limit is 30 kilometers an hour, and nobody drives that fast in the months of the May through October anyway. Lots of people walk back and forth. And so currently, having grass right out to the asphalt is just best, because nobody's going to walk on a sidewalk, even if it went all the way. The kids, the bikes, the basketball hoops and skateboards and everything are all on the road, because it's just a nice big wide pathway. So putting a cement sidewalk that with curb or whatever would do nothing to attract to it, it'll detract from it. Secondly, where do people live? They live in one side of the house or the other. The street, most all of us, we maintain the road right out to our yard right out to the road, and then behind us, that's where we sit and look. So all along, when you go around, most people have just maintained it right to the road. They're looking after it nicely, and with the house further back. Some of the new developments I know on the other side that our friends were referring to are not set back, but setting the house back from the road is what we want, so that front yard is, again, part of the walkway and the drive. And finally, I'd say the property in question was empty, I don't know, for quite a few years, might have been 5, unfortunately. The Sutherlands have just done first-class work on their cabin next to us, and I'm sure they'll do what they say they would do, keep their word, and build a very nice place if they did. So, from my perspective as their neighbor, I'd sure like to see the variances approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to just address a few of the points that were brought up. There was a point in one of, may I do that? First off.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. One of the points was there was concern that there's a fairly large garage as part of our footprint. And that's obviously to keep the the recreational vehicles, such as the motorhome that they tend to go down south in the winter with, inside a building so that the yard stays nice, neat, and tidy. The home, as designed, will meet all the other zoning bylaw requirements, including site coverage, which in your jurisdiction is 40% site coverage. My understanding is that that the Sutherlands do not want to sell. I mean, we all never know what life is going to bring us, but the Sutherlands are committed to this community, and Don's been coming here every year, I believe since 1968 is the number. So he is very aware of this community. He's very integrated into the community and has full intentions of staying there for the long term. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm running out of ink.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to come and speak on this? Okay. Over to council to ask questions of our planner. Any questions? Okay, Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, thank you. So, in the staff report, it says, unless the proposal is met with objection from the immediate neighbor, staff recommend that this variance be approved. So given that we've heard objection from the immediate neighbor, is staff suggesting that they change their recommendation?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The recommendation does stand for the reasons that I outlined earlier, and that this is a greater setback than could currently be constructed on the lot as it is. However, the reason why we have this public opportunity is to hear from those who are going to be more affected than I am sitting at my desk typing this up. So I would suggest that we take the feedback seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow-up question?
Just to follow up, so sorry, I'm still a bit confused of whether staff is recommending approval or not, because the report, the way it reads, and what we've heard, it's contradictory now.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is one of those instances where there may not be a right answer that is going to make everyone happy. The power of the development variance permit is at the discretion of council, and I believe it's appropriate in cases like this to allow council to hear back from both parties and then make a decision. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, there's no perfect recommendation in this case.
Thank you. Good?
Yeah, I have another question, but if somebody else wants.
Okay, I have one question. You've answered one question there. We heard from the proponent that the home is within the 40% site coverage. Why are they looking for a rear setback, is a reduction of the rear setback? Is it just to move the house further off of the road, or?
No, the house will still be sited within the minimum 6-meter setback off of Lakeshore Drive North. It is to increase the footprint of the house.
And the increase is still within the 40%?
We haven't received detailed designs on this, but it would have to be, yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Barkwell and then Patton.
Another option, you spoke about how a house could be built within 1.5 meters, is it, of the side yard setback?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if the lot were not subdivided, it would be able to be built within
And a carriage house would, how close to that side yard setback would a carriage house be allowed?
Madam Mayor, that would be the same setback, 1.5 meters.
Thank you.
Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the current situation of this house is where the proposed lot is actually the rear yard in this case when this house was built. Am I correct in that?
Sorry, the existing house?
The existing house,
When the existing house was built, the property line in question was the interior side yard.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about farthest to the east.
On proposed lot 2?
Yes.
Yes, at this moment,
Proposed lot 2. So this, at the time, this would have been the rear yard setback
without the subdivision, yes.
without the subdivision.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, am I correct when we talk about the 1.5 meter side yard setback? And if it was new construction with one single house on that property, then we could look at that, and I'm correct in thinking that way?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if there was nothing on the whole property as it existed and a new builds came in or a new permit or an addition to this house, that property line to the south would be considered an interior side yard.
Okay. So, I guess my question is, now that we're looking at Lake Shores being the front yard with a minimum 6 meters to the front of the garage, which is by bylaw, which is pushing the house to the back side of the property, which is now giving us a 2-meter rear yard setback, and it all, just for my head, it's all for the size of the house, the gross floor area,
Yes.
to maintain a gross floor area.
Yes, Madam Mayor, that is how I understand it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. It was mentioned that it was talked about the subdivision potential of Crescent Beach, and I'm a little bit confused because I always thought that Crescent Beach wasn't in the urban growth area. So I'm just wondering how the OCP and the urban growth area fits into what's being envisioned here. Is this what we envisioned in the OCP?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The OCP does have this land as low-density residential. Low-density residential fits within the RSD1 zone, and this subdivision potential is a rough estimate of what these lots could become and are already permitted to become under zoning and suggested by the OCP. Technically, all that density is already there, it just hasn't been realized yet.
And, sorry, another question. Thanks, that clarifies things. I'm a little bit concerned of a letter that we received just now of a neighbor 2 doors down, I believe, who said they didn't receive written notification of the variance request. And I'm wondering why that might have been. Would it be because 2 doors down, they're beyond 30 meters?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As we have heard, these lots are larger than they could be as shown by their subdivision potential. The current buffer in the procedures bylaw for notification is 30 meters, and at this time, that property 2 doors down is outside of that buffer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on either of the variances before us for this property? Okay. Could I have someone bring forward the resolution, please? 2 resolutions. Is anyone willing to do that?
I'll read it, Your Worship.
Thank you.
That development variance permit DVP 19017 at 7726 Hagan Avenue, legally described as Lot 6, District Lot 672, Osoyoos Division, Yale District, Plan 26226, to vary the minimum rear yard setback requirements prescribed in section 10.1.62 of zoning bylaw number 2000-450 from 7.5 meters to 2.15 meters be approved. And number 2, that the request at 7726 Higgin Avenue, legally described as Lot 6, District Lot 672, Osoyoos Division, Yale, District Plan 26226, to vary the off-site improvement requirements prescribed in Section 3.10 of Subdivision Development Servicing Bylaw Number 99-004 to require only a rollover curb and approximately 1 meter of asphalt paving be denied.
Thank you. A seconder for these? Oh, did you have something else to add?
There was a typo in that resolution. It should be 2.00 meters, not 2.15. My apologies.
Thank you. 2.00 meters.
Just a question?
Sure, can we get this seconded first, though?
That was my question.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it a little complicated? Are we going to have to vote on both of these at the same time if they're both?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that as
If they're both
Councillor
proposed,
Patton was reading through them. Corporate Officer, would it be better to divide them into 2 separate votes?
Yes, you can do that if you wish, if it makes it simpler, because they are 2 different variances.
Quite different.
Yeah.
Would that be the preference of council? Yes? Okay. So we're looking at the rear yard setback first, and
I'll
you'll
second that first
seconding
motion to
that.
get it on the
Okay.
table.
So that is on the table. Discussion, council? Any thoughts? Any? Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I understand building the new house to the lot, considering the shape of the lot. I don't believe there is a hardship in building on this lot, but I think that the size in that area is a little extravagant in my regard. I think that we've got a garage on each end of the property, or on each end of the dwelling unit, and I think that if there was a redesign that could happen where it was brought in, perhaps the house could be shifted more to the front to maintain the 6 meters, and would give, maybe not 7.5 meters, but would give some extra distance between the rear of the new dwelling unit to the property line. So as it sits right here, I'm afraid I will not be supporting this.
Thank you. And Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, I agree with what Councillor Patton said. I think a compromise is possible here, and that should be attempted between, with the neighbor, and if they talk, I'm sure they can work something out.
Thank you. Having heard the neighbor, Mr. Sopel, is that how you pronounce your name? Thank you. As the immediate neighbor, and his understanding that he was giving his approval, or he was in favor of this, thinking that it would be built within the bylaw as it stands now. That's what I'm understanding anyways of what we heard from Mr. and Mrs. Sopel. And knowing that based on the number of development variance permits that have come before us in the last 5 years, there always has been a pretty good case for why, quite often topography or the irregularity of lot lines, given as a reason for requesting a setback variance. I don't see that here. I also don't see in the general, in that general neighborhood, in that triangle, how that would, a house of this size would fit on a lot of that size in terms of the character of the neighborhood. So I am not going to be approving the rear yard variance setback either. Councillor Barkwell.
Yes, when we first started to consider this, I really gave a lot of weight to the fact that, you know, a house or a carriage house could have been carried right to the rear, or we're right next to Mr. Sopo's property line. But after listening to further discussion, I really now look at it, it's a separate lot. It's a new lot. It should conform to whatever a new lot would be on its own. And it appears that the only reason we need, the setback is desired is to build a much larger house, which would be rather imposing. So I think that they have to go back to the drawing board, and I'll be voting with you, Your Worship.
Any other comments? Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I have to agree with my colleagues on this one. I don't see, you know, most variants that do come to the table is because of, like you said, irregular lot lines or topography is sometimes a major issue here in our community, but this one here being a flat lot, you know, I would love to see something built there, but I'm hoping that they can work out something that'll be more appropriate in the neighborhood and with the adjacent neighbor. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Traynor, or shall I call the question?
I'm good.
Okay. I will call the question on this development variance for the rear yard setback. Right now, it is on the floor as being approved. All in favor? Opposed? So that is not carried. Unanimous.
Unanimous, thanks.
At this point, Mr. Planner, does this make the second resolution a moot point?
No,
Or
the
we
second
carry through
resolution
with
is
this?
its own. Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So this has to do with changing the requirements for off-site improvements. Would someone like to bring this forward? Councillor Barkwell?
Yes, I'd like to present the motion number 2 as written in the agenda, only with the word denied be changed to approved.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Holmes? Further discussion, Councillor Barkwell.
So since I presented it, I'll speak to it. I remember when we had discussions about a subdivision in Trail Creek along Nixon, and I was pushing for sidewalks on Nixon, a very busy road with the school nearby, and the answer I got from the planning staff at the time was, oh, no, you don't want that. You want to have a tight road, slows down the traffic, makes it all safer. And here we have a whole community practically telling us that they would like to have the narrower road. They're happy with the way things are, and I don't think that we want to. I'm sorry. I'm totally mixed up. I would like. If this is denied or approved. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm all mixed up. Anyway, yes. We want to see less concrete down there, less road widening.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for it changing to being approved?
Oh, Doug Holmes.
Oh, Doug Holmes?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I did that already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Anybody else care to speak on this?
I would just,
Okay.
sorry. I mean, I was just going to say the same thing, really. I think, you know, keep the character of that neighborhood. We don't need sidewalks down there. People, if you don't want sidewalks in your neighborhood, you know, don't need sidewalks, especially in a neighborhood like this. You know, you want to keep the character, and so I don't really see the need of it.
Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, the preliminary layout approval for this subdivision did not have a requirement for sidewalks. This area, I do not believe, is in the sidewalk master plan. So while the yes, this does show sidewalks. This is in an area where it is in the master plan. The frontage improvements in this area was only considering curb, gutter, and paving to center line and road widening. Thank you.
I'm a bit confused, but Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Van Elfen.
Yeah, even that I don't think is necessary. I just think let's keep the character the way it is, and you know, it's more natural. Everybody, it's one of the appeals of that neighborhood, and you know, once you start pouring concrete and changing those things that make neighborhoods appealing to people, then you're not really doing anybody any favors.
I understand now what you were saying. You were referring to the fact that there is not a requirement for sidewalk.
That is correct, Madam
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you, thank you. Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, it'd probably be the only property along that road that will have an improved curb gutter and widening in that one little section there, as per the plan. But if you go back to the previous picture, with the one with the, yes, that one there, with those improvements, are we going to lose all that vegetation on the front of that property? On the frontage to Lakeshore, the trees, what have you?
If anything would be within the area that would be required to be reconstructed.
Thank you.
Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I'm not mistaken, as I drove down there, there's already curb. There is curb. There is curb abutting the soap house. There's curb almost the full length of Higgins. So I don't, I agree that I would support the curb with the 1 meter, additional 1 meter, but I don't think that that we should take away the curb, since other properties within this neighborhood do have the curb that's already in place.
Okay. I'll go to you in a second. Mr. Planner.
Sorry, just a point of clarification. The proponents are still proposing to put a curb in under their variance request. It would just tie in with the existing curb that's along Lakeshore North and on Higgin Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes?
No, okay, that clarifies.
Okay, good.
things.
All right. So, any further discussion or questions of our planner? Okay, we are looking at the second resolution there, as read by Councillor Barkwell, but with it being approved rather than denied. I'll call the question. All in favor? And none opposed. So that's carried. Thank you. So 11.2 is another development variance permit, DVP 19-018 for 4415 Monroe Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. DVP 19-018 is for the siting of a coverall building on an agricultural lot at 4415 Monroe Avenue. The request is to reduce the setback from 30 meters to 8.9 meters in the A1 zone. Staff have mentioned before that the district setback requirements on agricultural land are extremely restrictive and do result in a significant number of DVPs on agricultural land. As it was erected without a building permit, it must be legitimized through DVP prior to receiving building permit. If the DVP is not granted, the structure will need to be relocated. The structure does not have windows, nor have any letters been received against the proposal. I mentioned the windows for privacy concerns. As such, staff recommends that DVP 19-018 be approved.
Thank you. This is another development variance permit, so anybody in the audience that would care to speak to this is welcome to come to the podium, beginning with the applicant.
Blair Parker, 4415 Monroe Avenue. I bought this orchard just over 2 years ago, and like a lot of orchards owned by farmers that are aging out, it needs a lot of replanting. So I currently have 3 main areas on the property. My best land to the north has about 30 peach trees and Italian prune trees and needs to be replanted right away with about 400 trees. In my main peach block closest to the road, I regraded and added 130 trees this year, but the rest of that block also needs replanting soon. My third section to the south, which is where the building's located, is traditionally very unproductive land and has no trees on it and very rocky conditions. It's the only rocky conditions I have on the property. It's also the only place that was flat enough with no trees to locate the building. I'm going to be using it to store some farm machinery and do grafting and start some trees because they're quite expensive to buy from nurseries. I also chose that location because it's the least obtrusive to any of my neighbors because it's down low on the property and not in front of my closest neighbor on that side. It's out of his view. Their view is beside it. So. And I'm sorry I didn't realize I needed a permit for a non-permanent structure until I was here for What the Fungus when they were getting their variance for their non-permanent structures. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Parker. Would anybody else care to speak to this variance permit? No? Okay, Council? Questions of planner? No? Anyone else? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Does this coverall, is it on a permanent foundation?
No. Madam Mayor, actually, if you don't mind, I will allow the applicant to answer that because I'm not sure.
Council, are we in agreement? Okay.
So the plan called for rebar spikes, but being the sandy, it's such sandy soil there, what I did was attach it to lock blocks so that it wouldn't blow away and end up in my neighbor's yard. So there's 7 trusses per side. The one side's anchored to 7 lock blocks, which are 4,400 pounds apiece. The other side, they're bolted to the side of the lock blocks because they're holding back about 2 feet of earth. So they're mounted to a row. So each post is mounted to 2 lock blocks essentially. So 8,800 pounds per.
Excellent, thank you. Since it's not on a foundation, it's a temporary structure, why would we even require a building permit for it? If you don't mind me asking, please.
Madam Mayor, at this time, we don't differentiate between temporary and permanent structures. There's no provision for an exception in our bylaw, either under zoning or the building bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Traynor.
No one has any further questions. I'll bring forward the proposed resolution.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you.
I'll bring forward, yes, that it be approved.
Okay, reducing from 30 meters to 8.9 meters.
Yes.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Van Elfen. And any further discussion on this?
No, just hats off, little pun. Hats off to the applicant for coming forward. You didn't have to. Could have left it. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe we would have figured it out, or maybe sooner, or whatever. But my hat's off to the gentleman for coming forward and being an honest citizen here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for putting agricultural land back to more productive use. That's excellent. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And none opposed, so that carries. On to 11.3, Development Variance Permit 19-021 for 11520 Mott Street. Putting you to work tonight, Kevin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. DVP 19-021 is to reduce the interior side and front yard setbacks for a detached garage at 11520 Mott Street. The variance request is relatively minor, and whereas staff will generally not support reductions to a front yard, the variance is so minor, to the tune of 15 centimeters on the front, that there is very little chance that it will negatively impact the streetscape. The interior side setback is proposed to go from 1.5 meters to 0.98 meters, in line with a past variance that was granted on this property in 1993 for a carport. As these variances are both minor and the new structure is proposing to be sited on the same space as the previous structure, and the majority of the building remains in conformance with the zoning bylaw, staff do recommend that 19-021 be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the gallery, beginning with the proponent, that would like to speak to this development variance permit? Nope. Okay, council, any questions of our planner? Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, I note they did things a little bit differently in 1993.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, though, from what I can make out of that drawing, is that roughly the same thing they're proposing now?
Yeah, actually, I've got the drawing here. This is what the councillor means by a little bit different. The proposed siting on the side is 3 feet in this drawing, and I believe it is just slightly over 3 feet in the current drawing. So, if anything, it's a little bit less than it was. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Van Elfen.
If no further questions, Madam Mayor, I'll ask to pass the staff recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Traynor. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries. Okay, 11.4, Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, UBCM Indigenous Cultural Safety and Cultural Humility Training. This is for our fire chief.
Madam Mayor, before council tonight is a recommendation to support the Regional District Okanagan-Similkameen with a grant application towards the Indigenous Cultural Safety and Cultural Humility Training Program. If the RDUS is successful with that application, the training will provide increased opportunities to educate emergency personnel on the history of Indigenous people, as well as the concepts of cultural safety, cultural humility, and the relevance to Indigenous peoples. There is no financial impacts to the District of Summerland. If successful, the RDUS will manage and oversee that grant, and staff's recommendation is to support the resolution.
Okay, thank you. This is something that came forward at the RDOS, and all the electoral areas agreed to support this grant application, and now it has to go out to each of the municipalities. That's why it is here this evening before us. Okay. Any questions of our fire chief? Fairly straightforward. Okay. Could I have someone bring forward the resolution, please? Councillor Barkwell?
That's presented in the agenda, Your Worship.
Thank you. And Councillor Patton, you're seconding it?
Yes, please.
Great. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor? None opposed. Thank you. 11.5, 2020 Acting Mayor Appointments. Karen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So in our council procedure bylaw, we do ask, or we do state that council must designate councillors to serve as acting mayor on a rotating basis for the upcoming year. So this particular schedule is being brought forward at this time to cover the acting mayor's position for 2020.
Okay, council, if you know in advance, and I know that this goes right through until a year from now, that you're going to be away, now's your chance to speak up. Councillor Holmes.
Not for me, but though she's not here right now, I'm just wondering if Councillor Carlson would be good to go in March. She is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked
thanks.
her.
All right.
Okay.
I'll mind
Thank
my
you.
own business.
No, that's good. That's good. We look out for one another on this team. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I noticed that I am for April 2020.
Yes?
I will be going to Cuba for a week and a half at the beginning of April, so
Okay.
perhaps I can change with one of my colleagues.
Switch with me.
Councillor Van Elfen?
I'd be grateful to change with them for July, because I have an engagement east.
Okay.
Ontario.
Does that work for you, Councillor Patton, to go
Absolutely.
switch? Okay. Well, that's easy. Councillor Trainer?
Sorry, I misspoke. The way the names are listed in our agenda is different from the attached report, so it looked like
Yes.
Erin was in March, so I actually don't know if she's okay for January. So
No,
you're,
she's in March.
is she in March?
I'm January.
It's Marty.
No, but what about this one here?
It has the date on the top, and then the name is kind of separated for each month.
Different.
But then in the attached report, it's different.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So I know she's okay
So which
for
one
Mar-
is it?
She's okay for
Yeah.
March. She's not
Oh,
okay
geez.
for January.
They got Marty and Aaron backwards
Yeah,
there.
which is the right one.
Madam Mayor, the one I have in front of me in the actual report, so the report to council that has that council passed the following resolution. We do have January, Councillor Van Alphen, February, Councillor Barkwell, March, Councillor Carlson. Perhaps, yeah, so my apologies if the attachment is incorrect, but if you look at the report itself, that is the one that we're passing the resolution on.
Okay.
So Councillor Carlson is good for March of
She's good for
2020?
March, yeah.
Okay. So with just that one change then, could I have someone bring forward this acting mayor schedule? Councillor Patton, Councillor Van Elfen, all in favor? Great, thank you. 11.6, Winter Road and Sidewalk Maintenance Policy Amendment. This is for our Director of Works and Utilities. Oh, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to lead off with the report, and then we do have the Director of Works and Utilities, as well as our Manager of Works, Martin and Chris, who are here for questions.
Thank you.
So the policy in front of you today is being requested to be amended as attached to the report. And I do want to point out to council that I do have a couple changes to that I'll touch on in the presentation. So the policy itself is a winter road and sidewalk inspections and maintenance policy. This is basically a direction for the district and kind of provides an idea of what we do in the winter with sidewalks and road. In general terms, we do also have a bylaw. So the bylaw is the winter road, is the district snow, ice, and rubbish removal bylaw, which actually places the onus on the property owners to clear sidewalks bordering their properties by noon of each day. This includes the district itself being responsible for clearing sidewalks in front of district properties, such as in front of Municipal Hall. For budgetary reasons, there are some areas of sidewalk bordering district property where the bylaw specifies exemptions to this requirement. So the policy itself is actually being introduced to provide greater clarity regarding the district's responsibility for sidewalk inspections and maintenance, ensuring that the district is only required to inspect the sidewalks bordering properties owned by the district. And again, this policy has been drafted with the assistance of the Municipal Insurance Association of BC, and it's going to reduce any liability exposure that we may have had. The existing policy apparently was a bit vague on whether or not the district was actually clearing every sidewalk in the district by a certain time. So this policy is meant to clarify that. So from the policy that was attached to your report, I did have some late feedback from MIABC, and I've just provided that, and that's on the table there for the public as well. Just to remove on that first part, the policy does not apply to private property owners, so that is being removed because it's a bit redundant. We do talk about public sidewalks adjacent to private property are under the bylaw. And at the very end of the policy, the current year sidewalk clearing map, rather than attaching it to the policy, which would require us coming back to council every year as that is changed, we are just clarifying by saying the current year sidewalk clearing map as amended from time to time, which is kept by our Works and Utilities people. And that concludes my report, Your Worship.
Thank you. Are there any questions of our Works and Utilities team? No? Could I have someone bring forward the resolution then, please? Councillor Patton?
May I bring it forward as written?
Yes, you may. And Councillor Barkwell has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, none opposed. I think this one's for you too, isn't it? 11.7, Medical Staff Association, locum physician housing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At our November 25th meeting, there was a public in attendance or a delegation that spoke to council regarding difficulties with locum physician housing. So the Medical Staff Association presented to council and requested some support in terms of them looking for not only the District of Summerland, but Penticton as well as the Regional District, for funding for them to bring in physicians, either to cover current physicians or to help with backlog or situations where they need people coming in from out of town. So council directed staff to look for opportunities to contribute, and this report is asking council to support a contribution of the $5,000 to the medical staff, and that be taken from the economic development budget, and that should council like to also direct staff to investigate any longer-term district funding options in support of the Association for Locum Physician Housing. That recommendation can also be passed this evening, and it was also a request of the delegation at the meeting.
So just for clarification, then the $5,000 coming out of our 2019 economic development budget, that will be for 2020, and then longer term would be beyond 2020?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Van Alphen.
The only question I have, Madam Mayor, is that when they were here giving their presentation, there was never any real discussion, and I forgot at the time, that if accommodations weren't available in Penticton, that we may have something here locally, you know, in rental type homes that, you know, that we may, you know, I know we generally have a shortage, but in the future, if Penticton seems to be a difficult place, that we might be able to house some of these physicians, and they may want to look at some of our inventory here. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good point. Mr. Haddad?
Yeah, through the chair, I believe they'll be submitting it or putting together a request for proposals and requests for interests from developers and property owners through Penticton, Summerland, I think down Oliver as well, for potential partnership on this project. So I think the opportunity certainly exists, and we'll see that come through, I believe, early next year once we get a copy of the proposal call.
Thank you.
Good. Councillor Traynor.
I just have two questions. The first is, what happens if the regional district doesn't support this proposal? Because they were asked for $5,000 as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, Your Worship, I believe there's going to be a certain amount, whether it's 40,000 or 35,000, and that'll be the amount that will be included in the request for expression of interests, I guess, for property owners. So as opposed to 4 properties, it may end up with 3, for example, if there isn't sufficient funds. So.
Okay, and then my second question is, will this group be coming back next year sometime to update our council on their progress?
Yeah, through Chair, Your Worship, yeah, we will certainly expect them to come back, and again, we'll, as per the second part of the recommendation, we'll need to investigate options for bringing forward that amount, and we may include that as an annual
Every
line
year.
item in the
Yeah.
budget, so that if it's not required after 2 years, hopefully we've figured out the doctor issue. If not, then on a case-by-case, we'll bring them back.
It would just be interesting to know if they actually get
Yeah.
doctors coming as a result of this, so. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes?
Thanks. So when they were here presenting, they mentioned that there weren't in a super urgent need for the money, that they said February would be fine. But I guess because we have the money in surplus from the budget, this would be their next year's money, so to speak. That's the idea, to use that. And then, so it's not like an extra, we're not paying an extra year, so to speak, right? And then just also, if it all falls through and doesn't work, presumably it's understood that they return the money.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
I like that they came to council, Summerland Council, as well as RDOS in Penticton. As we all know, we're in the same boat as the Penticton residents in that there's going to be a pretty significant shortage of GPs and nurse practitioners in not too long, 3 to 5 years from now. So whatever we can do to get started on the process of making this area more attractive to young GPs, and that they stay in the area for much of their careers anyways, the better. I welcome that opportunity, so thanks very much.
Madam, and I believe also that it hampers, we have a lot of young nursing students that are doing on practicums, and they're, maybe gone to college in Kelowna or Kamloops or where have you, but they could have a practicum in Penticton. And again, it's very difficult for them as students to find some housing for that term that they're working at the hospital before they get their full-time assignments. So, I think this could be good for, nursing also in the future. Thank you.
That's a good point, and I have a personal story about that. My niece graduated from Okanagan College. She's an LPN now. She works in the David E. Campy Tower, but she couldn't find a place to live. And so she is moving into Penticton so that she's much closer to the hospital and cut down on transportation costs as well. So, she's not a doctor, but that's a perfect example. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, just one final comment, I guess, is the one thing that kind of makes me nervous is that it isn't really our responsibility. It is kind of more downloading of social services to municipalities. But I think it's important that first of all, it's important, and because it's important for our community, so it kind of sits on us a bit. But I think it's also important that it sends a message to the province, and that there's an issue here, and we're trying what we can do to resolve it, and it might be something perhaps with Penticton Council and even the RDOS that we can take to UBCM, as that locum housing is a problem in this whole region, so that might be something to keep in mind for next year.
Okay. Could I have someone bring forward the recommendation, please? Resolution? Councillor Van Elfen?
As presented, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Barkwell. Any further discussion? All in favor? None opposed. Okay, on to correspondence, 12.1. Is there anything in correspondence that a councillor would like to bring out for more discussion or to bring some light to it? No? Okay, so could I have somebody receive that for information? Councillor Van Elfen? Councillor Patton, all in favor? Okay. And on to councillor reports. Starting with Councillor Van Elfen, because I like your hat.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Love your hat. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks. I also had the great honor to attend the utility open house. I was one of 6, and it was riveting. Thank you for the invite to the mayor's reception, Madam Mayor. It was a lovely get-together. And after that, I did attend Light Up for a short period of time. I went to the arena to watch a hockey game and warm up, actually. And then the next day, I had a lovely breakfast at Second Cup and helped support the Tots for Teens fundraiser. And also went to a Neil Young, Tom Petty tribute band fundraiser, and the Kelso family hosted this, and all proceeds went to the food bank. It was a really, really great entertainment. Then I attended the climate action meeting for a very brief time, but I was there, made an appearance, and the open house. And last but not least, yesterday I went to see The Grinch Stole Christmas, and Madam Mayor, you were amazing.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful rendition, I must admit, and a great fundraiser for our local food bank.
Absolutely.
And I thought it was very well attended.
Yes, thank you.
End of my report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thanks. I attended much of the same things. I think for the utility open house, we need to kind of rethink that a bit. I think we can perhaps, rather than advertise it as a open house on utility rates for the new year, we should have a real public open house on our infrastructure deficit, and so the community can really better understand what we're up against. I think that would be, and then we can tie the utility rates into that. I think we need to maybe think a little bit more creatively, because it was a lot of work that the staff put together. It was very good, so it was kind of disappointing to see that there was not that public interest. The climate action plan open house, on the other hand, it was quite encouraging to see how many people came out for that. And I'd like to thank Tammy Rothery for an incredible presentation, and also the youth. We had a youth council meeting this week too, and they invited Tammy to come and present to the students in the school, which of course she took up on. So don't know if she's done that yet, but it's great that she's reaching out to the high school students. The Light Up, I'll be interested in. I thought Light Up was great. I'll be interested to hear the feedback from the chamber and the local businesses on the new format and whether it worked for them or not. I think it served its purpose, where people trickled out as opposed to all leaving at once, so there wasn't that usual mayhem. But I'll be interested to hear the feedback from our local businesses, and that's about it, I guess. Thanks. Oh, and if anybody has any questions on the RDOS report, just I probably won't be able to answer them, but you can ask.
Councillor Traynor.
I attended Light Up as well, and with regards to feedback, I know over at the credit union this year, they have a Santa's workshop every year from 5 o'clock until 8. I know that it was quite a bit quieter this year, and we don't know if that's just because there was fewer people, or because of the layout, or because people are done making Christmas crafts. We're not really sure, but we did have fewer people. So. But otherwise, it was still a really great event, and I attended the youth council meeting on Friday with Councillor Holmes. And then I've also been making use of Powell Beach lately. The new layout and all the new construction and the new parking lot looks really good, and I've lived in Trout Creek for 10 years, and it's so nice to finally have a nice path down there, and it looks really good. They did a really nice job, and it's very thoughtful, and I think that it really preserves Powell Beach and keeps it looking natural still. So it looks really good. And then I also have hiked all the new trails on Giant's Head as well. It'll be nice to have a formal ceremony to acknowledge all the new trails and the hard work that's gone into there in the new year, but it's really great. And especially that new trail, it's a mountain biking trail, but it comes down the front of the mountain, like you can see it from all of Summerland. It's really neat to walk up and down if you haven't done it yet, because it gives you a really neat perspective over Summerland, and it's a very, very cool trail. And especially because the road is like a sheet of ice right now, if you get a chance to hike this trail, definitely do it. They've done a good job. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did the second half of the utility open house, which I have to give credit to our Director of Finance. They did a great job in the setup in which they did. Also attended the Climate Action Open House and the Fire Department's breakfast fundraiser at my second home. The mayor reception was fantastic, and Light Up was great. And I too attended the Neil Young and Tom Petty tribute concert, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I would recommend when they put it on again for a fundraiser next year that you all attend, because it was a great time. Actually, I think it was like 3 hours. It was fantastic. Anyway, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councillor Barclough?
Well, I attended all the same events except for the Tom Petty, Neil Young, which I'm sure had a lot of people that kind of my age.
Oh, yeah.
But I would like to give special acknowledgement to the credit union for having the courage to try something different, or not the credit union, the Chamber of Commerce to try something different this year with the Light Up. My understanding from brief email with David Hull is that they're quite happy, but there'll be refinements, and that's to be expected.
Good. Thank you. Time now for, well, I don't see any media left here, so for public comment. Is there anyone that would care to come and speak to us for a couple of minutes?
Good evening. My name's Grant Thompson from 14119 Prairie Valley. I just want to carry on from a previous discussion about the second domestic water lines and the confusion that is rotating around town as to what's going on, what council is proposing to do. It's a lot of unnecessary confusion, actually. Almost all of it driven by previous documentation from staff and council over the last 15 years. I'll just throw out some of those questions and some of the confusion for council to chew upon. Is this category going to be the only one that's in all of town is going to be required to pay for their own meters? Is the meter charge going to be $0, $740, $1,500, or $2,300? All of which have come out from previous documents. Is it true that if you want to disconnect your water line, it's going to cost you $1,100? Are there 240 or 400 properties in this code? We've seen both numbers over the last 10 years. Is the district budgeting to replace faulty meters that have been installed over the past 10 years? If that's the case, who owns the meters? Is it council's intention for us to sever connections to untreated water and force us to connect up to treated water? Which is counterintuitive, because the secondary untreated line that was installed about 10 years ago was to take pressure off of the water treatment plant. And what's the timeline for this? The feedback that we've had from staff and council, as previously stated, has been very bare bones. And there's a lot of confusion, and we're hoping that council can answer those questions. And I think a simple solution for that is for council to hold an open house for all of those 240 or 400 homeowners to participate in and hear from staff and council as to what their intentions are.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Exactly 2 minutes. Thank you, Grant. And perhaps that can be a yes. Thank you. Follow up. Okay.
Thank you. I'm here on the same subject. I think
Excuse me, your name and address, just for the record. That's
Yes,
okay.
Henriette Good, 13519 Prairie Valley Road. I understand that there are issues, that there are costs involved with what is going on in this direction. I did notice that there were accolades given to the gentleman on Morrow Avenue for his continuing agricultural endeavors, and I feel that what the council is proposing now for these 244 properties that are 0.5 or up to 2 acres that are agricultural lands, that the proposal is to try to eliminate a lot of that, which is counterintuitive to food security and to the continual development of agricultural issues. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mary Ann?
First of all, I did attend the financial meeting, or the open house, and I think David put a tremendous amount of effort into that, and the way he explained it to me.
This is Mary Ann McDonald, and her address is?
Sorry. And I have to say that I think Doug Holmes is correct, Councillor Holmes is correct, in that it has to be brought to the public a little differently, so that they understand why that you need these increases. And lastly, I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everybody here, and I'm looking forward to the coming year. And I will be attending council just as regularly as you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to everyone as well. Okay, so we've come to the end of our meeting. Could I have someone move adjournment? Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Barkle. All in favor?